She humiliated me at her work party. Now my revenge is how easily I replaced her. Hello, my name is Alex, and I am a 27 years old male nurse who has been married to Cassandra, my wife, who is 25 years old. She worked in a corporation, and we both tried our best to make sure that we as a family had a comfortable life together, or so I thought. Our story was nothing short of something out of a novel. We met at university, fell in love, and got married even before we completed our education. I was studying hard to become a doctor, but as we know, not everything goes as per plan. After being married for 2 years, I had to settle down for being a nurse, which was a financially more logical solution if we wanted to be debt-free. I guess that is where cracks in our perfect love story started to appear. My once loving wife had suddenly become a nightmare to live with. She would blame me for deceiving her and marrying her. Sometimes it felt like she married me only because of the title of the doctor and not for the person I was. I could see a sudden shift in behavior not only from my wife, but also from her entire family. They would mock me whenever they got the chance to let me know that I was not talented or hardworking enough to be a doctor and settled for being a nurse instead. I knew that I might have made the right decision to keep us happy, but the cost was my self-respect. I tried to reason with my wife and make her understand that this was the best option if we wanted to dream of having our own house and children without the burden of feeling like working harder than ever. She would tell me that she understands and acts all nice when we are alone, but I don't know why she would behave coldly whenever she is with her family. It was as if they were brainwashing her against me, and I could do nothing about it. I never expected that just within 2 years of getting married, our life would get so strained that the marriage felt like a burden to me. I would often stay late and take up night shifts just to avoid constant fights and arguments at home. I knew that we might have to have a long and honest conversation with each other to solve our indifferences and make things work. Suddenly, things changed when we found out that my wife was pregnant. We were both happy and over the moon to find out about it. I was finally feeling like maybe now, with the beginning of a new chapter in our lives, we would be able to move past our differences and focus on building a family. I started spending more time with Cassandra because I wanted her to know that I loved her and wanted to have a happy family with her. It was all going great because even her family had come around to accept that I was a caring husband. So a doctor or not did not matter to them. Their gestures seemed to say that. I thank God for this chance that I had at making things better and promised myself that I would do everything in my power to protect my bond with my wife. Once Cassandra was 3 months pregnant, I asked her to think about taking a break from work. She said that she was in no hurry to take a break until the very end. Her new boss was very thoughtful and had made life very comfortable for her at work. He even reduced her work to make sure that she is not under immense stress to get things done and focus on her pregnancy. I was relieved that she was making sure to be healthy and happy, but also found it weird that her boss was so invested in her pregnancy. Was he the same guy who she kept complaining about when he first took over, stating he was so demanding? Why the sudden shift in demeanor? I did not want to act like a possessive husband, so I did not push her much and kept my doubts to myself. I'm not going to lie, but I got curious about this new boss. I mean, just a few months ago, she wished that he would disappear, and now she was all praises for him. If something big must have happened, then she would have mentioned it to me for sure, but as far as I remember, she never said anything nice about him, but just stopped talking about him. I also realized that since I was busy with a lot of night shifts, and we were not on good terms, maybe that is when the change happened, and I was just overthinking instead of enjoying my new parenthood phase. I left it there and focused on the positives in life, and everything was perfect in my life. We were finally becoming the couple we were before all the unnecessary tension that we had between us. I started making sure that I come home early and even swap my shifts with friends to be able to make homemade meals for Cassandra and not let her feel like she is alone in all of this. She came home very late one day and said that she was too tired and had already had dinner with her boss. I wanted to ask her about her day, but she was so tired to fall asleep instantly. I tried to make her comfortable when I noticed that her panties were on the wrong side. Was she in a hurry to have worn them incorrectly? It was highly unlikely because she always made sure that they were folded the right way so that she did not have to deal with it in the morning. I decided not to think so much about it and was about to go to bed when her phone buzzed. I wanted to be put in charge and unintentionally saw the message from her boss, which read, "Same place tomorrow?" It was a weird message because if her boss wanted her somewhere, then he would order her to be there. Was he being considerate about her pregnancy and asking if she could make it? Or was there something between the lines that I was missing? I made a mental note to ask her in the morning and went to bed. The next morning, she got ready for work, but was dolled up a little more than usual. I asked her if she had an important meeting, and I could see her change her gaze and reply yes. I asked her if I could pick her up from work since I did not have much to do, and she instantly declined, saying she was not sure when she would be done with her work. I told her that she could text me, and I could come pick her up and we could go out for dinner. She kissed me and said that she liked the idea, but could we move it to the weekend? I acted as if it did not bother me, and told her anything that she wants and how she wants. She then bid goodbye before wearing her shoes and left. I took a quick peek to make sure if she had her panties right. When she came home, I checked, and again she had her panties wrong. I knew this could not be a coincidence, and I just could not get it out of my head. Was she in such a hurry, or that she could not see, and hence, after using the washroom, she had her panties worn wrong? I just could not get myself to ask her the reason. I was scared that she might say something that I was not ready to hear, or I was just over analyzing things which might upset her and then tamper things between us. I decided to sleep and just forget magnifying things for no reason. I woke up with a start and realized what was happening. I remembered that Cassandra once told me that she did not like wearing panties the right way after having sex, so she would wear it outwards. I just could not accept that this could be the reason. I mean, she was pregnant and was pushing me off from having sex, so there could be no way that she was having sex with someone else. It was very absurd for me to think of it this way, but it made me restless, and I could not sleep the entire night. The next day, I decided to follow her, just to make sure that what I was thinking was wrong. She went to the office as usual, and as I was about to give up and leave, cursing myself for doubting my pregnant wife, I saw her leave in her car. It was not strange that she had to go out to meet clients, so it was not unusual. I still decided to follow her and prove myself wrong. I was going to come clean to her in the evening and apologize to her for thinking so low of her. I reached a restaurant and parked far away, but was able to have a clear view of where she was sitting. Her boss soon joined her and kissed her on the cheek while touching her belly. It looked kind of suspicious as to why he would touch her and she would be okay with it. I could see he was old, but still, it creeped me out just looking at them. They were eating together, but there was no client. Did the client cancel, and so they decided to go ahead and eat? There were so many questions that kept popping in my head for which I had no answers. I decided to go by myself and try to get some clarity. I sat myself closer, but not too close, so that I could hear them and see bits of what was going on. It was not clear, but they were talking about how her pregnancy was going and what she had been feeling lately. I was upset that she was sharing all these with her boss instead of me, who was her husband. I could be the only one to help her with her feelings, right? He told her not to worry and that he would take care of everything. He would make sure that she and the baby had a comfortable life. Wait, what? I then dared and bent over to see what was happening and saw that he was caressing her thigh and his hands kept going further up. Oh my God, was my wife pregnant with his baby? I started thinking quickly about the time when we last had sex. It was even before I got to know about her pregnancy of 2 months. Right there could be no way that she could be 4 months pregnant if we never had sex in the past 7 months. How could I have missed this detail? I was so happy and did not even think that the baby was not mine. I could not process anything, so I just left in silence. The thought of her cheating and the grief that I was not the father of the baby was too much for me to handle. I went to the hospital and decided to stay there so that I could process all this information that was very overwhelming for me. I was a nurse, and I could not believe that Cassandra beat me at my own specialization. She must think of me as a fool to just believe her lies, even after being in the medical field. I could not focus on my work, so I just decided to take a few days off and think everything through. I needed this time for myself to discover and know where my life was headed. I told Cassandra that I was working on a critical case for which I needed to stay at the hospital for a few days, not that she would be worried. As expected, she showed her fake concern and was delighted that I would be away and she could do as she pleases. I booked a hotel close to her office so that I could keep an eye on her. I followed her for 2 days and saw that she was meeting her boss at home after work. The fact that they were having an affair was not weird, but the way they acted as strangers and always drove in separate cars was what caught my attention. Which guy would not want his lover to be in the same car unless he was scared of being seen with her? I decided to dig more into her boss and find out why he behaved as if he was being watched. He would come home to meet Cassandra in a taxi, even after having a driver in his own car. I found out that his entire business was funded by his wife. She was from one of the richest families in town. No wonder he did not want to piss her or her family, and that was the reason for his secrecy. After my 4 days of rest/spy mode, I went back to my regular life as if nothing had happened. I knew that I had to convince Cassandra that I was fully invested in this pregnancy and would do anything to make the process as smooth as possible. I would address her cravings, give her massages and baths, and every other thing that she would ask me to. Her family was finally coming around to appreciating that it was great to have a husband that cared and knew what he was doing. I would act humble, but inside I knew their true colors, so remained unbothered by their superficial praises. I knew that I had to wait for the right moment to expose both Cassandra and her family. I believed in karma, and if I waited patiently, then I would definitely have my chance at payback. I was going through the mail when I saw an invitation from her boss for his 50-year anniversary with his wife. I smirked and knew that this was the right opportunity that I had been waiting for. I could see that the invite had a +1 that they could bring. I asked Cassandra about it and told her that I wanted to meet her boss in person, to thank him for taking such good care of her. She brushed it off, saying that I might get bored, as the party would be full of people that I would not know. I told her that I was familiar with a few of her colleagues, and I could just enjoy a day off, mesmerized by my wife and her achievements. I knew that she could not say no after I praised her so much, and that was exactly what I wanted. I was enjoying myself by getting drunk and chatting away with her colleagues, who I had known from my previous meetings. She comes out of nowhere and tells me to behave because she wanted her new boss to have a good impression of the person she was married to. I point blank asked her, why the hell did her boss care who she was married to? It was as if he was competing with me to show my wife that he was better than me. I knew that this was the place where she would be completely powerless and wanting zero attention from everyone. I could see in her eyes that she was even scared that I might catch the end of what was happening behind my back. She smiled and said that she was just stressed because she wanted to make sure that she continues to get these pregnancy benefits and did not want me to screw it up for her. I nodded as if I understood the importance of all of it. I never knew she could be that slight to come up with such a blatant lie right in front of me and say to my face without even blinking an eyelid. Since she bought her boss, I started pestering her to let me meet her boss so that I could finally see how kind he was to her and every other employee that worked under him. I finally met her boss after multiple reminders to my wife that I was here to see him too. I joked that I wanted to know who was giving her a hard time at work and maybe I could punch him in the face. I knew exactly that if I behaved like I had no clue and joked about it, she would let her guard down and introduce us. That is exactly what she did. I was shocked to see that he looked older than what he did before. How could Cassandra fall for an old man maybe in his late 70s? He greeted me with warmth and a firm handshake to determine his authority. I acted as if I had no clue what was going on between him and my wife. I then met his wife as well and praised them for being loyal and married for so long, which was rare to see. She was a nice person, and I was feeling really bad that I would be the one to break the news to her about her husband and his affair. I then told his wife jokingly that me and Cassandra were having a baby, even though I don't remember having sex with her. I could see their faces suddenly shift to being awkward. I asked them very casually why they never had kids. I knew it was none of my business, but I wanted her boss to get riled up and cause a scene. His wife answered that they were so happy with each other's company that they never felt the need to have kids. I could see through it that she was upset and lying, but I could have been wrong. I then asked her a hypothetical question. What would you do if you were ever to find out that your husband cheated on you? Cassandra looked at me, asked me to stop being weird, and told me not to mind me as I might be drunk to talk this way. I did my job and decided that I should now thank Cassandra's boss for taking so good care of her in front of his wife. This was enough to piss her off, and she stormed off when I told her that she'd been taking care of my wife as if it was his own baby, jokingly, of course. Cassandra asked me to shut up and we were going to leave soon if I was going to continue talking nonsense. Cassandra's boss grabbed everyone's attention for a toast to his wife. She was pissed, and he knew that he had to act fast to make sure that she did not get mad at him. He then told the story of how he was grateful that his wife accepted him for the person he was when he had nothing and made him into the man that he was today. I must say that it was a very tear-jerking story that I am sure he must have prepared in advance. No man could come up with such a speech and continue cheating on his wife, not to forget having kids with other women. After his speech, I started laughing hysterically and telling him if he was sure that he was with his wife because he loved her and not for her money. He got angry and asked Cassandra to take me away because I was too drunk. I told him that I might be drunk, but I was not blind to the fact that he was the father of my wife's baby. There was a lot of commotion among everyone present. To save his face, he said that it was absurd and that Cassandra was like a daughter to him. How could I even think of them that way? Cassandra was dragging me out when I said that I had all the proofs to prove it. I then produced the pictures that I took of them, meeting in secret at the dock and going off in his yacht. They were so shameless to say that it still does not prove anything. They could have gone to meet a client, and there was nothing so questionable about the pictures. He was true about that, and everyone kept wondering if I was just accusing them for no reason. I asked Cassandra if she really wanted me to take it that far, or was she willing to admit the truth considering her situation. I still wanted to give her a chance to come clean. She yelled that she never knew I could be this possessive and jealous. She started crying, saying that she knew that I was upset that she was not ready to leave her job during the pregnancy, but I did not have to go to such lengths to make me quit my job. She was an excellent actor as she was gaining everyone's trust and sympathy. I then produced my ace, the DNA report. I challenged them that I had already done a test showing that the baby is not mine, and if they were innocent, then I would be happy that her boss could willingly get the test. The horror on their faces upon the mention of a DNA test was quite evident, and his wife knew that there was something going on which she was not aware of. I then started producing receipts of all the places that they went together, their lunches, hotel visits, spas, doctor checkups. They were both puzzled at how I would have got my hands on all these. I knew already that she lied about most of her busy work because I was working with her boss's secretary, who was charmed by me when I went to pick up Cassandra one day. She told me that she was out for a meeting, but seeing how much I cared for my wife, she decided to tell me the truth, which I already knew. I decided to use her for my benefit to get the information out of her. I even acted devastated when she told me that my wife was having an affair with her boss. I cried to show vulnerability so that I could gain her trust and sympathy. It worked wonderfully because she would give me live updates of them without even having to ask her. I took her out a few times to thank her for her help in letting me know my wife's true colors. I knew that I was taking advantage of her feelings, but I had to do what I had to if I wanted revenge on my wife. I did not like the idea of misleading her, but it had to be done. I could see everyone at the party now glued their eyes on Cassandra and her boss. His wife asked him to explain. He was stuttering and told her that it was all a misunderstanding and that they could resolve it on their own. She demanded that he give a public explanation, as both their reputations were at stake. She then looked at Cassandra and asked her if she was indeed carrying her husband's child. She was speechless and tried to leave. I held my wife's hand firmly so that she could witness her downfall with her own eyes. She was now cornered and had no way out but to answer the questions that she was being asked. Finally, after a very long pause, she answered a very meek yes. Suddenly, her boss, who was showering her with love and taking care of her, turned against her. He said that it was all Cassandra's fault. She was the one who seduced him and slept with him. She took advantage of his position and got pregnant to trap him. He told his wife that he had always lived with her for all these years, and if she could forgive this mistake of his. Cassandra was speechless as to how easily he shifted the entire blame on her and wanted nothing to do with her. He further added that she could ask anyone at work if Cassandra was the one who was always trying to throw herself at him, and they would be able to vouch for him. Cassandra cried that it was not true. He was the one who told her that if she wanted to progress, then she might have to be different from everyone else. That is how their affair started, and he promised that he was going to take care of the baby in secret for the rest of his life. At that instant, he knew that he had messed up, made a big blunder, to be very frank. His wife was the one who married him out of love, and this is how he repaid her. She was the one who had invested in his business and made him successful. There was no way she was going to let this slide. This was a public humiliation for her, and I could tell by her face that she was going to unleash her wrath on both her husband and my wife. I was waiting for her to explode so that I could witness and see how a mere nurse at a hospital could bring my wife crumbling down to my feet. Cassandra knew that now she lost her husband and her lover, who threw her under the bus, without even thinking of their baby. Her boss added that he was not even sure if the baby was his. It was just that he was very scared when Cassandra told him about the pregnancy that he never questioned about it being his. I could see Cassandra being heartbroken listening to how he changed his colors once everything was out in public. He was willing to give up not only their relationship, but also his own blood just to make sure that his wife does not kick him out. He kept saying that even the day that she might have slept with him, she spiked his drink to take advantage of him. Now Cassandra was furious and asked him to stop with his baseless allegations against her. She looked at me and said that I had to trust her. He was the one who was pestering her to sleep with him. She was never the one to initiate the affair. She only did that because we were not on good terms, and all of this seemed to take some negativity away from her life. I got even more furious when she blamed the entire thing on our fights and arguments. I told her that it was not my fault that she was not happy that I was settling for being a nurse, when I explained to her very well that this would be the best for our future. She was the one who was causing all the problems in her marriage by bringing up her family and the way they started treating me. If she would have let go of the ego of showing off her husband as a future doctor to everyone she knew, then maybe she would not have felt so little about herself when I decided not to become a doctor. I told her that all this was her doing, and she could not pin the blame on me and tell me she was not in a good mental state to make the right decisions. By the tone of my voice, she understood that I was going to be very harsh on her, and it would be very difficult to get back from the situation she was in. She pleaded with me that she was really sorry that she should not have crossed the line, even if it was looking tempting, and giving her a little peace. She told me that she could not go and change the past, but all she could do was make sure that our future could be beautiful. I laughed at her remark and said that we have no future together. I don't know what she was thinking when she told me that we could have a nice future together. What does she take me for? Does she think that it is so easy for me to forgive that she cheated on me and tried to make me the father of someone's baby just to cover up her affair? I just looked at her disbelief and said that this marriage was long over when she decided to cheat on me. There was no point in trying to revive something which is already dead or non-existent. She begged me to give her another chance and that she would make everything right. I was about to speak when her boss's wife cut me off and told her not to bother showing her face in her company or in her vicinity. She was fired, and she did not even have to bother to come and pick up her things because they will be sent to the address directly. The look on Cassandra's face said everything. By the end of the evening, she not only lost her husband, her lover, the father of her baby, but also her job. I decided to give myself a chance at happiness and started dating her boss's secretary, who had been so kind and helpful during this entire ordeal. I knew that she liked me, and I did not want to miss out on an opportunity just because the previous one turned out to be such a disaster. She was very different from Cassandra in many ways. She was not the one to judge me for my position or the work I do. I really enjoyed spending time with her, and her company made me become a better person. In the meanwhile, Cassandra would still visit me from time to time, asking me to take her back, admitting that she had been wrong in trusting her boss and having an affair with him. I told her that I had no feelings left for her anymore, not even hatred, as I did not want to even give her any space in my head or heart. I just wanted her to disappear from my life as if she never existed. I said that I genuinely feel happy about myself and my life after a long time being in my own skin and showing my true self. She was upset that I was dating her boss's secretary and asked me if I could not be with someone else before we divorced officially. I mean, the audacity of people to even suggest something after being wrong themselves. I asked her to take care of her own life and not bother about what was happening in mine, as I was more than capable of handling it. All I wanted was for her to have a clean divorce without any arguments or stretching it too far. I told her that the sooner we get divorced, it would be nicer for her to focus on her pregnancy and her upcoming baby. She tried to manipulate me with her crocodile tears that her boss had abandoned her, and without a job, it would be very difficult for her to raise a baby on her own. I told him very calmly that I don't understand how that was my problem. I asked her to take help from her family, who were always willing to take her side in every situation, even if she was horribly wrong. She said that now that she does not have a job and is carrying a baby, they don't want to have an extra financial burden and the time to take care of me and the baby. She tried to tell me that I was the one who truly cared about her and would go to any lengths to make sure that I was happy. She was a fool to have been manipulated by her family and have unnecessary arguments with me about my profession. She should have been much more accepting and should not have had a problem as long as we both had a job and earned a living. I told her that it was too late for her to realize all this, and now whatever she said was not going to change my decision to divorce her. I also added that I was planning to propose to my girlfriend and get married once the divorce was finalized. I just bluffed about it as I did not want her to keep bothering me anymore. She left after shedding a few tears, but I remained unaffected and made sure that I kept reminding myself of what she did to me and not fall for her tricks. I could never forget the things that she told me after being caught and making a big scene at home. She even told me that I ruined her reputation at work, and that even if I knew about the divorce, then I should have discussed it with her in private at home instead of making a scene at her boss's party. The funny part was the excuse she gave me. She said that her new boss was so demanding that she had no choice but to give in to him so that he could be a little less demanding. She was hoping that sleeping with him would help him be softer towards her and not yell at her for not being able to finish things on time. I laughed at her and said that she came up with a plan to cover her incompetence by sleeping with her boss. That was like a genius idea that no one else could have thought of. She added that she still loved me and only did that so that we would be able to spend more time together once her boss would let her do what she wanted to do. I mean, the audacity of cheating and then making it seem like a sacrifice. Wow, it's unbelievable. Some people never learn to admit their fault, that they never respected you to make sure to stay loyal to you. All she had to do was either work harder to make sure that her boss does not find fault with her work, or find a better job where she was respected and was given work based on her competence. I mean, even I could just sleep with a few senior doctors to have better shifts and easier cases to handle. But we all know that it is not the right thing to do. I know that moving forward with my new girlfriend is going to be a challenge with trusting someone again. It is going to take me time to get adjusted to the idea of loyalty and respect in a relationship. There is something that has changed in me internally, which will take years to build again. I just hope that this bad experience does not let me abandon experiencing true love in life. Thank you all so much for being a part of my journey. Even if you think that I had been cruel towards a pregnant woman, I don't think I did something wrong to the woman who not only cheated but tried to pass off someone else's baby as mine.